All right. Let's go, Brandon. Right? That's the theme of the week. So let's share. Bob hasn't heard it.
Brandon, you also told me, as you can hear the chants from the crowd, let's go, Brandon. Brandon, you told me you were going to kind of hang back those first.
That's what they're saying, Bob. They're saying, let's go, Brandon. Those are my fans right there, buddy. That's what they were really saying was, let's go, Brandon. It's become the meme, the T-shirt maker. Oh, it's so great.
Oh, it's good.
So you'll see this like constantly being brought up on shows and stuff now.
That's really funny how well the interviewer steered away from what they were really saying.
Yeah, and he didn't correct her or anything, which I thought was interesting. But anyway, so welcome to News Talk Wednesday nights, Bob. Here we are. I am the brainwashed spewer of violent filth to some, and sometimes the truth teller from the watchtower to others. And Bob, of course, is the worm and germ guy, editor-in-chief over at Outbreak News Today. And we are going to kind of go through some of the stories of the week, hit on some hot topics, give you our thoughts. So you doing all right, Bob? How are things?
Oh, doing great. Had a nice week off and back in the swing.
That's great. That's good to hear. It's been crazy as always. So we'll start with, of course, I mean, it's kind of like this constant balance between, should we talk COVID, Australia, foreign policy? It just seems that's all we do is keep pinging around to different topics. But there's central topics that just kind of keep popping up.
Well, so hey, Brandon, I can go ahead and just tell the audience briefly. I did watch the debate between Bill Kristol and Scott Horton. That's now on YouTube.
Oh, all right.
And just want to point out the most ironic thing that was said during the whole debate was Bill Kristol said, "I'm anti-war." That sums it up.
Oh my gosh.
I know. It was fantastic.
Did lightning strike? When he said that?
Right,
That's
exactly.
Crazy.
He acted.
I'm writing that down. As if find that clip.
As if he wasn't. As if he really didn't want to be there, but he was kind of forced to be there because if he canceled, everybody be on him. Right. Scott Horton was sharp, but it would have been better. Bill Kristol didn't seem as engaged in it. He almost I almost felt like he felt obliged to be there. Right after the debate, he bailed. He didn't want to hang out and talk to people or anything like that. So, whatever. But it was pretty much what I expected, though. I mean, Scott Horton's just like got this brain full of every little individual, he could name every little, person that's involved with whatever radical group or it's just, I mean, I don't know how he keeps all that stuff in his head. But he does a great job with that.
Well, I guess I kind of like somebody, I don't remember who it was. Anyway, I said, yeah, this debate's going on, blah, blah, blah. I said, I can't imagine. He's somebody that I'd be intimidated to be on a panel with somebody like that. Imagine what we've done all these years, but imagine it being so narrowly focused. It was only on that. Yeah. And that's how great this guy is. I basically said, imagine Bob and I combine all of our knowledge and experience together into one. And we had one website, one focus, one, writing element to our entire lives this entire time. That's what it would be like trying to talk to this topic about Scott Horton. He's become basically the anti-be all of end all be all on that topic, in my opinion. I can't think of anyone else, who is so fluid in the intricacies of that of our foreign policy. So, boy, it'd be great to see him part of something and then just see how it triggers everybody. That would be great for me.
I would love to see him just go on MSNBC, Fox, any of those stations, just for a regular. Maybe he has. I never seen it, but it would be interesting how he would absolutely slaughter the interviewer. Doesn't matter who it would be. He would slaughter any of them.
Well, yeah, and I think that it just kind of goes to show how little they have an experience in dealing with a lot of these topics. I don't think that there's anyone that hold a candle to Scott Horton. Most of these media shills don't know anything other than talking points they're being fed. So I can't imagine putting them in the room
It's
with him in
interesting.
a period of time.
You know, I don't even know what his background is. Maybe he's just a guy that started following this stuff, and I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either.
I never dug
He's
into
like
it.
an icon in our circles, that's for sure.
Yeah.
And he has earned every bit of it and then some. Okay, we'll shift topics a little bit. Before we do, let's do the obligatory. We are not anti-vax. Consult your doctor. Get the vaccine if you choose to. Do what you got to do to take care of you and your family. If you are in Canada, particularly Ontario, it sounds as though they are moving forward with requiring you to have a vaccine certificate in order to host a wedding reception. I'm not quite sure that it's clear what the rules will be. It's all in development. But this is Dr. Kieran Moore, Ontario's Chief Medical Officer for Health, revealed starting October 13th. So it's already in effect. So I guess I probably could track that down. Anyone attending a reception will need to show proof of vaccination or medical exemption. And they go on, we've noticed a number of outbreaks associated with weddings, in particular wedding receptions. While the current regulation states individuals who are not fully vaccinated attending a wedding reception in a meeting or event space can provide proof of a negative COVID test in order to attend. This exemption expires on Tuesday. So there is a move to crack down on weddings. And I think what's interesting, Bob, I really wanted your take a little bit on what you think here is at some point now we've got sort of a higher level government pressure point. We've talked about businesses and all that. So let's just presume you have X percent of population that's still not participating, whatever that looks like, however you define it. Now is the time we'll start to see the signs of how will they try to manipulate and move people in other areas of life to force them to participate. Is that a pretty fair assessment of what this may or may not be like?
I suspect so. I mean, I think the mandates are going to be effective to a certain point, but you're still going to have a lot of people that are going to still. I mean, we saw that doctor in UCLA who was escorted out. He was an anesthesiologist. I mean, I would say that's a pretty critical individual who worked all through the outbreak pre-vaccine, and because he didn't want to get it, they escorted him out, and he's gone. He's fired. Well-known anesthesiologist. So yeah, I think I think they're going to have to do this incrementally. They're going to do step by step by step by step until they're going to force people to either, will I be able to feed my family, or am I going to stand up for this principle? You know, I'm not for mandates. I do think it's a little bit on the foolish side not to get vaccinated. There's not a lot of good reasons not to, but it is your choice. And I concur with that. So
yeah, and I think that it's easy to see. Obviously, we've had Australia as its own science project, right? We've talked about that here on the show. But I think when you start to look at how America operates, the idea of trying to squeeze millions of people through the pressure points, one of the things they can do is, let's take wedding reception out of it, but let's just say you have to have a vaccine passport, medical exemption, religious exemption. I'm going to include that because I can't see any reason that won't fly here in America. In order to go into the building to get your marriage license, renew your driver's license, registration, pay, let's say, property taxes or whatever. I mean, I know there's online options, but what if online options are shrunk or eliminated to force people to use those? And then, of course, federal buildings. So it could be like for court cases. It could be for traffic, paying your traffic fines. It could be for jury duty. It could be. So I can see all of these things coming, folks, that you can see society and the pressure coming in really fast, very, very quickly. And I'm actually shocked that wasn't more of the strategy instead of this business mandate thing. Because I think that just puts them in so much more political animosity than trying we control all these buildings and all these infrastructures. This is what we'll do.
Yeah, well, they've kind of already done that in a way in some cases with, the entry into restaurants. if it's not fully implemented in travel, it will be. You at some point you won't even be able to get on a Greyhound bus without being vaccinated. But I think there will be a breaking point though, and I think it's going to affect essential services. And I think if this happens, a lot of people that support this stuff are going to get lambasted. When I tried to make an appointment today with somebody at TGH, and I got a email back saying, check with us in 4 to 6 weeks. All of our physicians are working at the hospital. We're not taking routine appointments. And imagine that, in so many other fields of work and offering services and stuff. I think it's going to hit a breaking point if it keeps on going like this.
Well, I saw, and again, I'm going to say it's conspiracy theory and conjecture at this point, right? But we saw with like the airlines canceling flights, and we heard weather being blamed, we heard staffing issue, that kind of thing. I did see and read a very extensive Twitter thread. It was like 14 parts. It was secondhand, and it alluded to why this pilot did not want to get vaccinated because he had already had COVID. He believed that his natural immunity was good enough. It wasn't worth taking the inherent risk of being out more during a staffing shortage and all those kinds of things. But so that's all. It's a conspiracy theory if that's why they had their shortages and cancellations. However, it's easy to see that, as you were saying, Bob, that you start to see not only essential services, like pretty irreplaceable elements of our society. Like you start to look at pilots. I know there's even been talk in sports. Like you start looking at elite athletes who are not going to participate, whether they sit out, whether they get banned, maybe they can only play in a certain arena and not another arena. You start to see people kind of shaken quickly into like, is this the hill that I want to die on or not? And I don't know about you. I don't know what percentage of people will kind of come along or who will go along to get along.
Yeah. Well, I saw a story earlier today. I guess Chicago had, 13, 14 gunshots last night. It's not even a weekend. And they were talking about, what's going to happen when they suspect somewhere around the 25 to 50% of the police force won't be working in a week because of the vaccine mandate in Chicago. Is that taking us to a really, really bad place? Yeah. And that's just one thing. I mean, what happens if this happens to fire departments?
Right. They're just short staffed. They can't keep up. What are they going to do? Yeah,
you're calling 911 and nobody's coming. Nobody's coming.
So another example of this, or another way you're seeing sort of the broach on liberty, would be the bizarre attack already on Christmas and holidays. We saw a massive surge last year, and obviously with the cold weather coming, you're seeing an outbreak right now in Michigan. I will predict, based on the statistics, that you'll see a pretty big outbreak in the Northeast and the Midwest as the winter months come. And I wanted your thoughts on this bizarre headline. I'm not going to pretend to be an expert, but it said, for holiday parties, CDC says using a window fan is advisable. But I wanted to get down. It says, the U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention recommendations for the upcoming holiday season include the idea of using a window fan to keep the air in an indoor party as fresh as possible. The CDC appears to be suggesting that circulating air indoors can ward off airborne coronavirus, or at least reduces chances of spreading during home gatherings. What are your thoughts on the use of a fan as a viable way of reducing, transmission?
Well, I guess at least in theory, that's probably helpful. I mean, we know that, air circulation helps. We know that with the winter coming and a lot of people being, stuck in their homes with multiple people while it's too cold to go out, cases might go up again. I mean, we see that during flu season. That's why flu season occurs during the colder months, because more people are inside. So I don't think I'm not saying it's not plausible. It's a part of trying to keep yourself safe, I guess. But it's really interesting because that brings me to a tweet that I saw the other day from a PhD professor up at Harvard, and she says it's 6 weeks away, or 4 to 6 weeks away, and she tweets that we're planning on having 10 people over for Thanksgiving. Everybody's going to be vaccinated, and we will be doing tests on them when they get to our house to make sure they're negative. And then she goes on to the next tweet. We have pretty good ventilation in our home, so that helps. So so she's going around in that same line. But I'm sitting there thinking, would you like sit there and do COVID tests on guests at your house?
I'm ready to test you right now. I'm not sure I feel safe, even with our computer distance, that we shouldn't have you tested.
I should put my mask on.
I just can't imagine. We should start a show like that with Snicker. We start the show with our masks on and say, well, we need to be transparent with you. There's not really good circulation in this room, Alex, and we're not sure that we feel safe if we don't have good circulation. He would freak out. He would be like, what the? I'm not sure I could keep his profanity at bay.
No, probably not.
It'd be great though. I might do it. I might do it.
I don't think it's off the wall saying that circulation and ventilation is useful.
Especially if like you said, okay, so when we talked offline, it's like, if you have, you're up north, it's snowed outside, so your house has been closed, so you might have indoor heating. So yeah, okay, an indoor fan. A lot of these homes don't have ceiling fans, so a window fan or a room fan might be better than having no circulation whatsoever. So fair enough. If we can take it at that face value, then that's fine.
Yeah,
we're willing to let them go. It reads very, very strangely though, and it caught my eye, and that's how I thought I would include it in this segment to bring up of a window fan. I don't know, whatever. The other story, let's go ahead and get to is Newsom. He went after, he got real busy after the recall was over. No surprise there. Like, he went right into authoritarian mode. Here's one of mine. I thought just the absurdity of it all. Newsom signs a law requiring gender-neutral toy sections at large retailers. Now, I don't know about you, but we have grandkids, so I think we're going to have some insight in this. That's what I think. So let's get to the story here. California Governor Gavin Newsom signed in a new law Saturday mandating that many large retail stores offer some toys in gender-neutral sections. A move advocates say encourages children to consider toys without taking into account gender stereotypes. Quote, this bill will require a retail department store that is physically located in California, has a total of 500 or more employees across California retail department store locations that sells child care items or toys, to maintain a general neutral section or area to be labeled at the discretion of the retailer. Now that doesn't say they won't. We'll read on. Never mind. I was going to say, it didn't say you can't have a boy and a girl section. It just means you have to have a general neutral section. All right, in which a reasonable selection of items and toys for children that it sells shall be displayed, regardless of whether they have been traditionally marketed for either girls or boy, reads the law. It's unclear how large the general neutral section has to be to satisfy the, quote, reasonable selection requirements. And then it talks about some fines, which are piddly, $250 to $500. I'm not sure Walmart or Targets would be worried about paying a few $100 to just do whatever they want to do. Anyway, it's just nonsense. It's like, part of it is to make sure that if you have a young girl, you can find a police car, fire truck, or periodic table, or a dinosaur. And it's similarly, if you're a boy, if you're more artistic, you want to play with glitter, why not? Why do you feel a stigma of saying, oh, this should be shamed, or you should go to a different location? Okay, well, first off, the people that do these things, I always question if they have kids and when's the last time they've had kids, because we go shopping. Okay, we just I'm going on a rant, Bob. Sorry. We just went on a shopping trip. It's our pre-Christmas shopping trip with two of the grandkids. We're going to be taking all four. And we basically went down every single aisle with them. One boy, one girl. And some aisles had them more interested than other aisles. That's it. There was never, oh, you can't get this or you can't get that. It was just very clear, free for all. Let's make our Christmas list. Let's talk about things that they're into. And we just turned them loose. So who is taking their kid and going, oh, no, you can't buy a police car, little Sally. And, oh, you can't play with glitter. First off, you shouldn't let any kid play with glitter because good luck getting that out of your house. Glitter is like the venereal disease of crafts. It will stick on you forever, ever, and ever. We had basically like a quiet moratorium and ban on that stuff at my church because, oh, it's awful. Anyway, back to gender neutral nonsense. I don't think there are signs that says this is a boy section or a girl section. I think it just says this is the doll aisle, this is the Hot Wheel aisle, this has Legos and games and puzzles. I don't think there's any delineation based on that. I don't know, Bob, when's the last time you took your granddaughter shopping or you paid closer attention to what aisles are marked? Or I haven't noticed any of that.
Well, don't really take her shopping very often, but there are a few thoughts I had while you were reading that story. And one is, doesn't Target already do that?
I think Target does that with clothes. I will pull that up for you.
All right. And the second thing I thought when you were reading the story was, to me, this is just another distraction. You're going to tell me that Gavin Newsom has nothing better to worry about in his state than that? I mean, he's got pretty big fish to fry, and he's worried about that. So I put that in the category of being a distraction more than anything else.
Well, it's obviously virtue signaling. So yes, I mean that I will agree with you on. I'm not sure that I would say he trust me, this is not the only authoritarian nonsense that he's pulled this week. So he's doing more than one. This is actually from 2015. Target going general neutral in some sections. It would be phasing out gender-specific product categories and switch gender-neutral displays and colors after guests complained. Really? Okay, so quote, right now our teams are working across the store to identify areas that we can just phase out gender-based signage to help strike a better balance. For example, in kids' bedding area, signs will no longer feature suggestions for boys or girls, just kids. All right, well, that's fine. Who cares? Yeah, that's fine. Actually, it seems like it would be easier to keep your costs down as far as your signage if you just had generic signage for some of that stuff. Yep. In toy aisles, we will remove reference to gender, including the use of pink, blue, yellow, or green paper on the back walls of our shelves. They suggest, right. What? Why would that?
I thought so.
Okay. Yeah, I guess you're right. But that's like color scheming. And I'm serious. I've had 5 kids, 4 grandkids. I don't remember saying boys and girls except for clothing. But I could be wrong.
I thought that's the way it was because, I mean, it's pretty hard to shop for clothing if you don't delineate. So
I meant to ask my wife. I wish she was in the chat so I could ask her. But if anyone pops in or out of the comments, if you let me know, are boys and girls pretty much the same size? Is it normal, like a 2T is the same, whether it's your boy or your girl? I actually don't know. I don't know if I bought a 2T out of the boy section or girl section, if they're relatively the same size and compatible or not. I really don't know. I just logistically don't know. Whoa. I don't know what's playing. Must be an ad on the Target page. Yeah, probably. So on that note, California is leading the way. And it did not take long for one of the biggest makers of toys to virtue signal that they are on board and they are willing to participate. And again, it's all on one aisle already. I don't understand why or if there is a difference. Lego says it will work to rid its toy of harmful gender bias. That is so ridiculous. Just absolutely ridiculous. I just cannot believe Lego. All right, whatever. The Danish toy company announced Monday it will work to remove gender stereotypes from its products and marketing, citing the results of a worldwide survey that found general attitudes towards kids' play and creative careers remain, quote, unequal and restrictive. The benefits of creative play, such as building confidence, creativity, and communication skills, are felt by all children, and yet we still experience age-old stereotypes that label activities as only being suitable for one specific gender. This is Julia Golden, Lego's chief marketing officer. She said in a statement, "At Lego Group, we know we have a role to play in putting this right." Well, they already do like girl Legos. Like it's already like there's a pink version and there's a purple version. And so I guess they're going to do away with all the color schemes because the colors is the problem. Like suddenly Legos that are in boxes next to each other that are labeled differently will matter. I don't know. Does granddaughter play with Legos?
Yeah, she plays with that. She plays with all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, mine love Legos.
She does favor pink. She's a girly girl. I had to buy her a hula hoop, and it had to be pink.
Yeah, they prefer pink and purples. I don't. You ask them what they want. If they said they wanted blue or green, who cares? Get them blue or green.
Yeah, exactly. But hey, can you put that story back up? There's something that caught my eye. I think I read it right. That paragraph right there. Lego partnered with who?
Oh, yeah, let's check that out. Okay, yeah, good call. The Lego partnered with the Gina Davis Institute on Gender in Media, a research organization that advocates for equal representation of women, to explore whether parents and kids see creativity as gendered. It surveyed 7,000 people in 7 countries and released its finding to coincide with the United Nations International Day of the Girl.
Is this the Gina Davis, the actress?
I assume so, but Bob, we did not celebrate the United Nations International Day of the Girl. That should be a shirt. I got to earmark this as a possible shirt.
Bro, I don't have
the Day of the Girl. The Day of the Girl sounds like, yeah, Day of the Girl was Monday.
I'm celebrating World Rabies Day and World Malaria Day. I don't have time for that one.
Listen, you have time. It is very important that we do this. Listen, I do not think that you should be so flippant about these important international days. It took a lot of work to get different countries to agree on important things like this. It's very important, Bob. We need to be really thoughtful. Look at that logo right there, Bob. Look at that. How could you not know how important that is?
Yeah.
The Day of the Girls. They're in orange, pink, and blue. One's got pigtails. One doesn't. One's got it's like a weave or some kind. Look like braids. So they're going on. They got it all going on.
Well,
Monday was Coming Out Day and International Day of the Girl. Now we all know.
And if you were to do a deep dive, you would find hundreds of days like this. You never even imagined existed, I'm sure.
All right, let's dive into Gina Davis's Empowering Women in Hollywood page. I got to be honest. I enjoy going down the rabbit hole like this. This is why I feel like I could stream for hours, because this is exactly how my brain works. The stream of consciousness works. It's like you just take people on the journey. I don't know how long it'll take. So this changes everything. Gina Davis on Empowering Women in Hollywood. So there's a 28-minute audio. We're not doing that because I have not screened any of this stuff. The new documentary explore. What did you say?
I said that's a Terry Gross podcast. Fresh Air.
Oh, okay. Terry Gross. Okay.
Yeah, it's reasonably popular.
That makes sense. Okay. A new documentary explores how women in Hollywood are pushing for more representation in front and behind the camera. This is not new news. This is the Me Too Time's Up stuff. Davis and director Maria Geiss, I think, discussed the dramatic disparations on screen. Transcript. Interesting. So that's what this is about. Based on a documentary. Didn't know that's what Gina Davis was doing these days.
Exactly.
Huh. All right. I'm not sure what to search for. It just goes on and on and on. But yeah. All right, folks. Well, listen. The gender stuff's changing. Legos are changing. And, it's important, heading into the holidays. We make sure you buy the right kind, Bob. Write down the right aisles. Don't get confused. The law, as far as what I saw, looked very ambiguous. Like, it may sound like they only have to have a gender neutral area. That it's not like it's gonna. That's not like they're gonna go in and they're gonna, because it already is like that. We were just there. There is like all of the dolls are together and all of the Hot Wheels are together. And why would you not have it that way? I don't understand what's not blended, other than like some of the age group stuff. Like, there are blocks for like little kids that are separate from the Legos, but that's more like the age restrictions. There's safety issues with choking hazards and things like that. I don't think any of that stuff is spread out as much as they're trying to make it seem like it is.
Yeah, like I said, I think it's a distraction as far as what Newsom's doing.
I am not distracted.
He's satisfying a particular base with doing stuff like that. The average American doesn't care about that, you know.
Do you care about that, Bob?
Not as much. Apparently, not as much as I should. I need to go to the Gina Davis School or whatever.
The Gina Davis School for Reprogramming for Gender Equality, in front of and behind the camera, because if we have girls play with police cars and boys play with glitter, that will solve the problem. All right. Well, I'm going to get to my weird story, and maybe okay. You're going to have to evaluate my weirdness on this one, because I don't know. I don't know what to say to folks, because maybe it's not as weird as I think it is. It just seemed weird to me that on Twitter, and this was a minute ago. This was October 6th, so it's been a minute ago. Okay, so Twitter just tweets, "Hello, literally everyone." So Twitter, the company, tweets, "Hello, literally everyone." And McDonald's says, "Hi, what can I get you? 59.6 million nuggets for my friends. For here or to go. Can you just DM them?" I'm like, what is this? What am I looking here? Look at this. There's like thousands upon thousands of comments and retweets and loves. And I'm like, companies are having conversations with each other? Like, this is a weird marketing thing. And maybe I'm wrong, but it keeps going. Like, Google Play chimes in. Adidas says, "How long this day has felt." And then it was people got into all sorts of weird things. Oscar Mayer gets in the act, goes, "You were made for this moment." Oscar Mayer tweets that. I'm like, what is going on? Lionsgate they chimed in.
Well, apparently these corporate entities have a lot more free time than I thought.
I guess. I mean, so this was after their outage, and then they kind of all came back up, and I guess this is kind of a little bit part of their doing their thing, but it just seemed, is it weird to think of company as like, you have like an official company page, you may want to make a statement or something like that, but is it okay or not weird to just see random tweets and then they start talking amongst themselves? Is that weird to you, or is it just mostly weird to me?
Who was it? Mitt Romney? Corporations are people.
Corporations are people. Was it Mitt? It may have been, yeah.
Yeah, well, there you go. There's the evidence right there.
Okay, so I did. So okay, I'm. Maybe I'm exaggerating how weird it is to me, but it seemed weird enough, because, and then I thought maybe I'm wrong. I thought that maybe all of these like marketing managers and people that are running these Twitter pages and whatever, that they all know each other and they hang out, like you and I, Bob. Like, so let's say you got hired for a marketing manager for Facebook, and I'm the marketing manager at Netflix, and you tweeted for Facebook, and I said, this is going to be funny. I'm going to tweet Netflix. Netflix tweets back, and Bob's like, "Oh, that Brandon, he's just trying to be smart. Like, I'm going to get him back." And that's what some of this stuff's happening. I mean, that's the only way I can rationalize it's not weird to see companies chatting back and forth like nothing's going on.
It's got to be extemporaneous, totally. I can't imagine that being scripted, but maybe, who knows? So, hey, this looks like fun, because I mean, obviously, it's not the CEO of McDonald's doing it; it's some social media flunky they hired and whatever.
That's definitely true. That's
Yeah.
definitely true. I don't know that I feel comfortable living in a world where suddenly corporations are going to post and like if it starts happening on like Facebook and it starts to become like a regular thing. I'm not down with that. These places are already like cesspools of horrible things that being discussed on a regular basis. I'm not particularly comfortable with having companies jumping into the mix. So that's just not my thing.
Well, hopefully we don't see that anymore. That's
Yeah.
hopefully that's a one-off.
I will say it has been so much easier to change your name on Twitter to troll people and do things that I find entertaining. So I admit that I just sort of do that now because all I do is end up getting myself blocked by social justice people because most of Twitter is social justice people. And you're not allowed to like ask them a question. You're not allowed to say anything to them that could remotely make them think about what they have been tweeting. They look at this as like, this is my little world and I'm allowed to say whatever I want to say without any accountability. Only people that like me and agree with me can talk with me.
You're the incognito Michael Malice, man.
Oh no, he is so much more talented and skilled and smart than I will ever be. He thrive. He admitted that he will think about and process ideas. He probably has a little notepad that he keeps or something where he's like, that'll be good. This is going to be good when Romney tweets, and this is going to be good when Liz Cheney tweets. I mean, he's probably got a little notepad. That's what I would see. Yeah, because he's so good. He's so good. All right, Bob, your turn. Let's throw the ball your way.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I got a few things I wanted to go over. And I think the first story I want to share is perhaps the most disturbing one. Let me get it up there. And you may have heard of this already. One of the writers on Daily Wire broke this story. Are we up?
I see it. Let's get it up.
There we go. Okay. And I'm not going to read. Yeah. I'm not going to read the whole thing, but basically, here we go. This guy, you may have seen him or heard of him. He's Scott Smith. Loudoun County, Virginia is essentially the epicenter for these school board meetings that people are going bonkers about CRT, transgender issues in the school, stuff like that. And it's a very liberal county in Virginia, near Washington, D.C. Well, a few months ago, this guy, Scott Smith, there's a video out too. You probably have seen it, where he was there and he was arrested because he was complaining to the school board and concerning, the topic was the policy about transgenders. And he went up there and he was complaining that, hey, the school did nothing. My daughter was basically sexually assaulted ninth grade daughter, sexually assaulted in a bathroom by a 15-year-old boy who wore a skirt.
Correct.
Yeah. So you've heard this. Yeah.
Oh, I know this intricately. I did not even know how, because this story is so massive. We could probably do an hour show trying to create the timeline and the sequence of events that this. So from what I understand is they suppressed him speaking, and then they also denied there were ever any issues at the school. Correct. That's the initial phase of this. And some of the initial conflict. And another parent got into his face.
Right.
And one of the officers, I guess, tried to intervene. And when he pulled his arm away, that escalated into him getting arrested.
Yeah. So basically the cops took him down. His face was bloodied. They were dragging him. His drawers were falling off. And he basically became the poster child for the domestic terrorist at a school. Now, I don't know if you've ever been to a school board meeting, but they are notorious for being animated. I'll put it that way.
Right. Because so again, I've been there, probably created chaos because there's no structure. So if you and I were going to do a school board meeting tomorrow, we would have a plan of attack of who's going to moderate the school board. This is the list of people that are on the list. You would have a cutoff. You can't let one of the meetings they talked about said they had 200 people that were going to talk. Even if they talk for a minute, you're at 3.5 hours. No one's going to. No, that's not possible. You have to have limitations and plans and structures. Why would we expect the government officials, especially school boards, to have any of that? So sorry to interrupt you.
No,
We'll
it's cool,
continue to
but
drive the story because it is very long and complicated. And you've only
right,
gotten through like phase one of the story.
right. So it did get a little wackier as apparently this same 15-year-old. I guess there was no discipline, and I think they may have transferred him to another school, and he did the same thing to another girl in the other school in an empty classroom, sexually assaulted her. And I think now he's in juvie right now. That's what I understand.
Yep.
I wasn't able to read the whole original story. This guy, Luke Rosiak, he's the one that broke it.
Right.
And that's why I was asking you for the password and all that. If we still have
yeah, they so what I understand is the Smith family, because he was there with his wife, and there was confrontation with other parents, and they basically insinuated the daughter had lied and all of that. And there was an ongoing investigation. He's underage, so not a lot was being done, but they felt comfortable enough with the system. The school board stuff happens, and what really escalated the circumstance was the school board was basically denying that any acts of violence, any transgender attacks in their bathrooms, any of that stuff had ever happened. And then, of course, fast forward, it happens by the same kid in a different school, and then there's actual criminal charges because he actually, like, I guess, pushed the girl in a classroom. So she was essentially trapped. Like, it falls under like kidnapping and entrapment charges. So it really escalates very quickly compared to even, but I think there was a rape kit done on his daughter and all
Correct.
of that. So
yes, there was.
and I do believe that the police force spoke out maybe as recently as today, confirming all the Daily Wire reporting. So everything that you can say about the Daily Wire got validated today in their coverage and breaking of this story. So it is,
and it appears that the police force was the only ones that kind of took this seriously. I don't know if the school or the prosecutor came from a very progressive strain of the attorney's office, and I mean, the school, prosecution, or not the defense, they're all denying this stuff. And we'll see where it goes. But that to me, that was the most heartbreaking story I saw in some time. This poor guy, he's been plastered all over MSNBC and CNN as like the domestic terrorist. This is what a domestic terrorist looks like.
Yeah, the FBI using that term is still shocking. And what's weird is how still I don't understand how so many parents can just treat these school board people like they're smart people and they're effective when their talking points and their dysfunction of schools has been the same since you and I were young. Like it's not like schools are any better. They've only gotten worse. People are graduating with less skills than you and I did. So why are we treating them like these great experts and grand wizards that know how to actually educate children, let alone keep them safe? And now you're having safety questions. And I think the Smith family said, listen, this isn't about even the transgender. It's the fact that there's the policy and the way it's written. And I think that I had wrote this back in the dispatch because this is Virginia. There's lawsuits about Virginia and their policies with dealing with the bathroom issue for years. And I had always said, I'm sure we either had videos or it came up in videos that we've done. I know it was in my writings. And I always says, here's the problem, that the laws are so badly written. These people are so incompetent at writing laws that it makes it so broad and loose that all you need is any predator, they can take advantage of it. Because some of their stuff involved access to not just bathrooms, but locker rooms. And even more disturbing for me was field trips where they go on like remote field trips and they have to stay in hotels. So you could have some predator, say he's a girl, and now he's in the hotel room with your daughter all weekend or week or who knows what for whatever, like a band trip or something. So yeah, this is maybe it takes a horror story to shine light on it. I don't know, Bob. I don't know what you think.
No, and I do see a bright spot in all this stuff, especially coming out of Loudoun County and other counties like that, is that I think people are all of a sudden going to start taking their voting for the school board way more seriously. They're going to research these candidates. I'm sure in the past they were just checked off and whoever. That's going to change, I think. If it doesn't change, there's something wrong with us.
That's what I should do. I should just go run for school board. I have no campaign. I'm just going to put up signs, and whenever they ask me questions, I'm going to be like, well, my job is going to be real simple. We're going to hold teachers accountable. We're going to get rid of the ones that are molesting and taking advantage of your children. And we're going to have some serious attempts to actually protect your children. And then we'll actually teach them, English, math, science, history, the things that they're supposed to be here for, and not gender studies. So just so you know, that'll be what I run on. That'll be my campaign for school board.
All right. Good stuff. All right. Well, that was my serious story.
There you go. I like it. I like where this is headed. This is headed towards fun.
Well, the next thing I wanted to talk about is something we did in the past, at least once. Our conversation was, what are you watching on YouTube?
Oh, yeah.
I think at the time I said it was Jamel or whatever the guy's name is.
Yeah, right? Jamal. No, it's Jamel, aka Jamal.
Yeah.
And they copyright strike me because I played too much of his Black Betty.
When I was on vacation, I one night I was laying in bed and I was watching some of his videos. He did the string of Joe Jackson videos.
Yep.
And he did Is She Really Going Out With Him? And of course, the first line of that song is pretty women walking with gorillas down my street. And he just started cracking up. And then he's like, you know how it goes, doom, doom, doom. You know the beat to that, right? Yeah. He goes,
Yeah.
Yeah, I just feel like putting on a suit and going for a walk. Doom, doom. So it was a great reaction. But this is who I am been watching a lot of videos of now. It's this. He looks like a kid. I assume he's an adult man. He's a musician, and he does some really good analysis of songs. And let me try to share one clip of one of the videos. It's called David Bennett Piano. And let's see if we get that up there. Can you see it all right?
There you go.
Yeah. Let me go ahead and play, I don't know, a minute or two so you can get a good taste of what he's doing.
So the songwriters can use it as extensively as they want and they won't get into any trouble. But the next example, the final example we're going to look at today, is an example of what can happen if you write using a classical tune that's not in the public domain yet. All by Myself by Eric Carmen is based on the second movement of Rachmaninoff's Piano Concerto No. 2 in C minor.
You know the song?
Yeah.
Okay.
Think of all the friends I've known.
Oh yeah, classic song.
The telephone. Nobody's home.
So that's the Rachmaninoff version.
All right.
So he basically lifted this song.
Okay.
However, there's a caveat at the end.
The chord progressions of both pieces are almost identical in every way, and the melody is so similar that it's almost like Eric Carmen has just set lyrics to Rachmaninoff's tune. The interesting thing about this example is when Eric Carmen wrote All By Myself, he thought that the Rachmaninoff piece that he was basing it off was already in the public domain. And in the USA, where Eric Carmen was writing, it was in the public domain. However, that wasn't the case across the entire world. See, the 70-year after death system that we have in most countries today is a relatively recent development. Back in 1975, when Eric Carmen wrote All By Myself, copyright law worked a bit differently in the US. Historically, in the USA, copyright lasted for a maximum of 56 years from publication, rather than death of the composer. Rachmaninoff's Piano Concerto No. 2, first published in 1901, would have entered the public domain in 1957 in the USA. So Carmen was right to think that Rachmaninoff's music was out of copyright in the USA. However, crucially, it was yet to leave copyright in other parts of the world. It wasn't until Eric Carmen was actually contacted by the estate of Rachmaninoff that he realized that the tune he had used wasn't in the public domain yet. Allegedly, an agreement was reached that meant that Rachmaninoff's estate would receive 12% of all of the royalties earned from All By Myself. And All By Myself wasn't even the only song that Eric Carmen wrote using a Rachmaninoff piece. his song "Never Gonna
So
Fall
you
in
sit
Love
around
Again."
and learn about copyright law, and that's relaxing to you?
No,
I'm just
it's just
making.
it's just
I'm trying. It's fascinating, but I'm also
yeah.
like, this is Bob's brain? We're like getting a look at what relaxes Bob. It's understanding copyright law and Rachmaninoff. Fascinating.
It's really this kid does such a I assume he's a kid, a man, who he puts in a lot of effort for his videos. He really breaks all this stuff down.
Yeah.
It's just so interesting. I guess that's the term. It's such an interesting videos he produces, and they're all in a music vein, but he really breaks things down because he understands music theory and writing all that. Anyway, so that's what I've been watching lately.
You have to send me the link to his channel so that I can put it in the clip version. So on the clip version, you can go there yourself, folks, and you can see that.
Yeah,
I'm probably not going to share a clip of him, but this is Ryan Dill, who I just met, had a great chance to interview. We did a What's Your Story clip. This is his channel, and found a couple different videos that I liked, reached out. We had a great talk. And let me tell you what, young man is extremely thoughtful and wise above his years. Also very much an individual who's striving to be intellectually consistent, which is just like a lost art. Like it's shocking, like how much he tries to spin difficult topics from life to race, the economy, just different things. Really, really great. His name is Ryan Dill, and again, I'll put the link in the shared version.
That was really a good interview. I enjoyed it. I encourage people to check that out. And I think the part where a lot of the interview kind of amazed me, right? But the part that amazed me the most was when I think he was in high school, maybe even younger. He was reading Thomas Sowell.
Mm-hmm.
Well, just to say, I got introduced to Thomas Sowell when I was deployed for Desert Storm, so I was close to 30. And this dude's doing it when he was like a teenager. So that's
the book that he recommended, he read like in middle school or 12 or something, was like
something like that. Yeah,
crazy heavy book, and I'm like, whoa,
it's off the charts.
Yeah.
So impressive kid.
What are you reading, Bob? Anything? You got books that you're into? Here's my next one. I'll put it up here, folks, to see what I got coming up. Secrets from MIT Tennis and the Umpire Above. Tarek Walton. So he is an MIT grad. He loves to play tennis, kind of at the instructor level. He has written this book. I am going to be setting up a What's Your Story with him. He can take us through his journey. You know what? I love it when people do this and they pay the extra money to put like color photos in. So when they refer to different things, you actually get like a frame of reference. Because sometimes they'll put some photos in the middle, which is fine. But when you're reading along, I don't know about you, Bob, I might read like 3 chapters, and then it might take me a couple of days before I get to it again. And by then, to have it all happen in real time, just huge kudos for that. I have really not started the book yet, but I'm very excited about the opportunity to. A lot of my other reading has been for the Pops stuff. I didn't plan on doing this, so let's see what I got over here. I got all sorts of stuff. This is a great comic book for adults. It's called Fables. This was at Ollie's for like $6. It's the hard version. Fantastic. There's a show on ABC called Once Upon a Time where they basically have like a fictional Mother's Grimm fairy tale nursery rhyme characters, and they're brought to life as though they're real people. So this is a dark version of that, but it is way more interesting than Once Upon a Time could ever be. So I'm going to do a review on that because it's the first 2 sections are fantastic. I did do my review on this one. This was a more recent Flash book, which, the art is very inconsistent. Don't like it, but it was all right. No complaints there. So that's some of the more recent things that I've read beyond my normal Bible reading and research for all of the multitude of shows that we are now doing. So, anything else that's at the top of your list?
Well, let me just introduce a book that I'm reading right now.
Okay.
Let's see if you can see it. It's called Raging Waters in the South China Sea: The Battle for Supremacy in Southeast Asia, and that's about where China is basically setting up bases and stuff around the Spratly Islands. It's causing conflict between China and Vietnam, China and the Philippines, and it's a really good analysis. And when I do complete it, I plan on contacting the author. Her name is Rachel Winston. So it's not the Flash. It's not that entertaining, but
Hey,
it's got some real world implications. China is really getting away with a lot of stuff, and she exposes quite a bit of that.
not everything can be the Flash.
No, not everything.
Bob brought it up. I appreciate the compliments. This is the What's Your Story page. You can see a couple interviews here. The one at the top here is an interview with Joel Smallbone from For King and Country. It's a Christian band. They just came through Tampa on a tour. Joel is, we talked about the tour briefly, but there's a couple different clips. The 15-minute one is the full interview. There's a couple little clips where he talks about trying to write and being creative during the pandemic, and then kind of like how it just changes music a little bit and that kind of thing. So yeah, it's really great talk. And then of course we talked about Ryan Dill. This is how smart this kid is. He talks about this term that he used, radical accountability, and that just blew my mind. That this 27-year-old young man is at some point very early in life understood that he was accountable for even being lured into a fight. Like, we're all taught about defending ourselves and don't throw the first punch, but he was like, listen, I know I'm going to be in trouble even if I am defending myself. So it's like, how do I always avoid certain traps in society and different things like that? And he talks about his life journey and all that. So it's a great talk. He actually was going to try to join us this week, but it didn't work out with his schedule. But I'm hoping that he will. He'll be able to work that out with us soon. And then we can talk about. So he is a guru when it comes to reaction videos and sound like basically the culture war. Basically just his finger on the pulse of the pro-life conflict, as well as race relations, different things. Just really a fascinating young man that I am so pleased to get to know at least a little bit, and look forward to spending more time with.
Yeah. And let me go over two more things real quick. I'm going to do a little health topic, and then I want to bring up a blast from the past, and see what he's been doing lately. Let me start with a more serious story. It's a study that recently came out, and see if you can see that. Bro, can you make sure that gets up there? Oh, I lost you. There you go. All right. And yes, they're studying this, but I still found it interesting. People who eat meat experience lower levels of depression and anxiety compared to vegans.
Amen, brother.
Yeah.
Meat.
So they did this study, and basically, I'll go to the study itself.
Look at that picture right there with that megaphone. That's what it's like being around a vegan. Just my opinion.
But to make a long story short, let me just bring up the actual study and the conclusion, so we're not wasting too much time on this.
We don't have to waste. This is not a waste of time. Okay, listen. It is not a waste of time to discuss vegans, because vegans are amongst a population of people that are so into being a vegan, they cannot resist talking to you about them being a vegan. It's like rock climbers are in this category. You ever meet someone who actually climbs rocks? They're so obsessed that they get a crack of an opportunity to talk to you about how they climb rocks. They will not be able to not talk to you. Vegans are the same way. And I'm like, I don't care. Let me eat my meat. Leave me be. Leave me be. Okay. Let me get you your story.
Put it up there, bro. Yeah.
Conclusion. Meat.
Yeah, I just want to go to the conclusion. The purpose, they did a meta-analysis. So they looked at studies going over a 20-year period from like 2001 to 2020.
Wow.
And our results show that meat abstention, vegetarianism or veganism, is clearly associated with poor mental health, specifically higher levels of both depression and anxiety. Our cumulative analyses suggest that the more rigorous the study, because not all these studies are done very well, and they admit that, the stronger the relation between meat abstention and mental illness. So the better the study showed that there's a distinct relationship between avoiding meat and having anxiety and depression issues. So yeah, I just found it fascinating. Thought it would be worth mentioning.
So they're even aggregating data from other studies, like they're
tons
just,
of them.
Okay, so like
That's
they looked at like 20 years of data.
That's right.
And pooled it all together, and so the more depth or the bigger sample size, the better accuracy of a study, the more likely it all pointed in the same direction.
Right.
So okay.
So as they're evaluating all these studies, some of them are poorly done, and that happens all the time.
Sure.
Some are well done, and what they noticed in their analysis was the ones that were really well done even showed a more distinct agreeing with the conclusion, right? That there's a bigger issue with mental issues. But yeah, I thought it was pretty interesting. And let me throw out a blast from the past. I don't know if you've seen this guy in a while. he's pretty entertaining though, bro. Though he's a total goofball. Is that up there, Brandon? All right. So I saw this on Twitter today, and Jeffrey Tucker talks about the podcast with Joe Rogan and Alex Berenson. If you're not familiar with Alex Berenson, he's an ex-New York Times journalist who he was on his own, and he was analyzing all this COVID stuff from early on. He's been banned from Twitter. He's been banned from here and there. He's basically now writing on Substack. That's how he makes a living.
Sure.
But he did a interview with Joe Rogan, and
I see where you're going with this now.
Keith Olbermann, you remember him?
Olbermann. How could I ever? Dude, there's no way to delete the Keith Olbermann from my life and memory banks.
Yeah. So Jeffrey Tucker writes, Alex is stunningly knowledgeable. Okay, that's his opinion, right? Keith Olbermann, the two of them have the combined IQ of a sink.
That's just ridiculous. Keith Olbermann?
Yeah, but so I went to go see what Keith Olbermann's up to. And I found this video on his Facebook page.
Look at him getting virtue signal when he gets the jab.
Booster shot. Mission accomplished. And it is time to stop coddling them, the ones who won't get the damn shot already. And our first step, you and I, is symbols, the language we use. We call these people vaccine hesitant, vaccine skeptics, anti-vax. We say they're protesting mandates and passports. They're making a personal choice. They're waiting for more information. They're making a medical decision. Bullshit! They're afraid.
Sorry about that.
They're afraid to get vaccinated.
Okay, pause that for a second.
Stop feeding their egos about what they're doing. Stop
who oh gosh, I can't stand the stupidity. Who thinks, okay, how small must the bubble be that you think this is fear and fear alone? Like, if you would go on Twitter, other than the people that you're following, you'll see people talking about already having COVID, talking about studies that are showing, listen, if I've already had it and the studies are saying I have good immunity, I just don't want to deal with the vaccine right now. Plus, most of the vaccines are like I have to get 2 shots or 3 shots, like boosters. It's like there's no fear. Like there was another episode or someone else talking about it. It was I brain cramping up on all of this, but it was along the same lines of like it may have been Don Lemon and Chris Cuomo, and it was like, well, I know for one thing, the vaccine doesn't have a microchip in it. And I'm like, oh my God, seriously. But this goes back to like the QAnon stuff. You and I, we had this talk with Alex. We've never met anyone who's into all that. And yet they talk as though it's this blanket. So my question is is it just easier for his little brain to think people are afraid and that we should be belittled, or anyone that doesn't think like he is should be belittled? Is that pretty much Mr. Sink? That's my nickname. He's Mr. Sink. Mr. Sink.
I guess the only reason I wanted to put that up there because it
torment me.
No, it's just a blast from the past. This guy he's so buffoonish. I get so much laughter out of it, and people have to know he's buffoonish. I can't be the only one, And so you want to continue playing that?
Sure.
All right.
Play it some more.
Don't let your head pop off.
Legitimizing it. Vaccine hesitant, they're afraid. Vaccine skeptics, they're afraid. Anti-vax, they're afraid. They're protesting mandates and passports. They're afraid. They're making a personal choice. They're afraid. They're waiting for more information. Afraid. They're making a medical decision to be afraid.
It reminds me of like the angry dad yelling at their kid at like the ball game, like the ballpark, and don't be a wussy out there, kid. Don't tell me that you're not whatever. Don't tell me it's only a whatever. It's a spray. Yeah, that's what I feel. I feel like it's just like the angry old man who's lecturing us like we're like 7 years old playing PAL football or something.
Yeah.
Like I'm twisting my ankle. I'm limping off the field or the court, and he's yelling at me about don't be a wimp. Get out there and do what you're told to do. Whatever. It's like, what are you talking about? And I think
the last time I paid any attention to anything he did was, I don't know, 5 or 6 years ago. He was tweeting at Penn State University fans, and they were going back and forth, and he ended up calling them morons and everything. And he eventually had to apologize. I don't know if he lost a job over it or whatever, but it's been about a half a decade since I even heard of Keith Olbermann. So it was just interesting.
What is he actually doing? What does his bio say that he actually does? I actually don't know what he's even doing these days.
Oh, well, we can check that out.
What does it actually say?
I've got to stay here, but there's no reason why you folks shouldn't go out into the lobby until this thing blows over. It doesn't really say anything.
Of course it doesn't.
Yeah. But
right.
Again,
so he is a sports political commentator who has basically become a crackpot.
Yeah, so
let me see what it says he does. I see 2018.
He's obnoxious. He's buffoonish. And I mean, he, in a funny sort of way, Olbermann kind of reminds me of a left-wing Trump.
Absolutely.
In some ways.
I would say the same thing.
Yeah.
But Trump, the difference would be Trump was always like charismatic, and he was trying to get people to like him. Like pre-political Trump, it was very much into I'm wealthy and look at me. He had cameos in movies. He was hanging out at the parties. He had all these pretty women. He had all that persona is part of what so many people liked about him. Olbermann, after he left ESPN and he got into his MSNBC political nonsense, he become like a hater of people who didn't think like him. The stuff that he would say was just bombastic. It was nuts. It was he is. I've heard him say things that are actually worse than Trump ever said on record. I don't know what Trump says behind doors, but yeah, definitely on record.
Yeah.
I cannot figure out where he works. This is so convoluted because it says on October 6, 2020, he resigned from ESPN to start a political commentary program on his YouTube channel. So I guess he has a YouTube channel, and that's all I know. So
how old is he? How old is he now?
How old do you think he is? Younger than I thought he was.
65.
He's 62.
Okay.
Yeah. I was like you. I was like going to mid to late 60s, but he's 62.
Anyway, Brian, I hope you enjoyed Keith Olbermann coming back in your life.
Oh, no. And then the worst part is, like I said, it's not as though he's even making a point. This is typical Keith Olbermann. It's like, I'm just going to scream and yell at people and call them names, and then people will talk about me.
Did you consider him a good sportscaster?
It's almost unfair to evaluate that era of ESPN where you had, Patrick and Stuart Scott and Oberman, all that. So you had this incredible Rich Eisen, because it was so well structured and it was so good at what it did. It was groundbreaking. They get more credit than they may even deserve it, but they were just so, it was so perfectly done and it was so well crafted. I have such a positive impression of it. It's not fair to even judge him one way or the other. If he was really good at what he was doing, he'd probably still be working in sports at all instead of dabbling with all of this nonsense of politics, because no one really cares. I don't think anyone on the planet who's listening to Keith Olbermann for political insight or thoughts. There's nothing that comes out of the man that's remotely useful. It's just about how to be bombastic.
Nope.
So yeah, I don't know. No, don't know anything about Olbermann. I couldn't really tell you on the top of my head when's the last time I've seen or heard or thought about anything that had to do with him, to be honest. So yeah, you broke that bubble, made me hurt a little bit. So I got yelled at by Keith Olbermann because I didn't want to play by his rules and his way. And as I've said, I said the hard thing I have is there's so many reasons people are into these buckets that he is trying to all up into one. Like I have to make everyone one cartoon, and there's like 15 different cartoons, and that's just not fair. So anyway, well, it's good for you. Look at you bringing more fun and levity to the show this week, and having more of a lighter heart with me. That's good. It's good for your soul, Bob.
Mixing it up.
That's good. I did actually go to a movie last week, and so it's like life's feeling more normal with like the 3 channels now, and I got the Wednesday night show. Interviews are coming. Yeah, it's good. Feels good.
Good stuff.
And the StreamYard's going well. What you got? Any interviews and stuff lined up for next week or anything?
Yeah, actually have one for tomorrow. I'll be talking to this professor. I think he's from Oxford, but he's based out of Jakarta, Indonesia. And he's been doing research on one of the malaria species, Plasmodium vivax. And that's going to be our topic. Not as interesting as Keith Olbermann, but that's what we'll be talking about. So it should be posted sometime tomorrow night. So if you're interested in malaria, I encourage you to check it out.
That's awesome. Good. Yeah, I spoke to a member of Mercy Me. They're doing a Christian band doing a tour. You probably know them from the I Can Only Imagine song. They're that band. And then I have a whole bunch of stuff that's in development but not locked in for as early as next week and the week after. So we shall see. But it's all been good. And great show, Bob. I appreciate all of the stuff that you bring to the table as always. Thoughtful. And this week, a lot more fun. It's good stuff. A lot more fun.
Hey, bro, before you go off.
We're not going to talk about Superman's gay, are we? Because I know that you brought it up too. My phone went up with all sorts of. I already did a video. I know there's more. I know it never ends, but go ahead. All right, go ahead.
No, I mean that wasn't really a topic I was very interested in. I don't have. I don't have.
You just wanted to see. I thought you'd bring it up just to see how crazy or outraged I
was. Well, I sent you the link because I didn't know if you knew about it. That's all.
I knew.
Yeah. But speaking of the News Talk YouTube channel, just going to give you a heads up. I was testing the links on there, man. You might want to take a look at the links to like What's Your Story, Outbreak. I think there's a third YouTube channel. Pops. None of them take you anywhere, man.
Great.
Yeah.
Great.
So, anyway.
All right.
Easy to fix. Easy to fix.
Well, we did the theme updates on Tampa Dispatch, and it created problems that I think I fixed. And it's just the tech stuff never stays the same. It always changes. So you constantly have these companies spend so much money on all this stuff, so someone else has to do it. It's a hassle to go in there, and it could just be simply a copy and paste issue, like one space, one dot. It didn't go over. Well, who knows what the problem is? So, and then it could be. It's only that video or it's X number of videos. It's not like all of them forever. Who knows? I don't know. I'll do the best.
I think when you're putting links on YouTube, if you copy and paste it and it's too many characters, you only get chopped up characters.
Mm-hmm.
You'll never get to the site.
Yeah.
So sometimes it has to be done originally each time. At least that's what I've experienced. Yeah.
Right.
Whatever.
Well. if you see them broken, you can feel free to fix any that you like. That's all I can tell you right now.
Oh yeah, yeah, that's fine. I can do that. I just didn't know if you were even aware if you even tested your links.
I have tested links, but I will tell you that it is very likely in the copy and paste universe of me trying to catch up on clips, it is very, very likely that there are broken links, partial things done, and what have you. But hey, you know, there's always stuff to look forward to. And I have one more thing for you. I want to make sure you know it's very important for you, Bob. You should
and I expect you next week to bring what you're watching on YouTube.
I will do that. We'll make sure you know that if you need to get yourself a Lindsey Graham,
Justice.
yeah, we have Cooling Justice is up. At least the first one. I have another one coming. But yeah, if you need to get your Lindsey Graham Magnolia Thunder Pussy merchandise, it is now available.
All right.
We have hats. There's a shirt. His and her shirts, sweatshirts. They'll make anything you want, Bob. They're going to hook you up, my friend.
Good stuff.
In case your wife wanted to just throw a mini skirt on, we got it covered, right? So stickers, stuff for your phones, it's all here. Art boards, you can hang it up in your office, which is a deal at only $11.77. What a great price for that, right? And Bob, I know that you were thinking about decorating your house and you want to redo the floor pillows, comforter.
Yeah, that'll fly.
Throw blankets, coasters, clocks. Snicker and I said we should probably buy the bedroom set one. Just like figure out how to get like $200 together and just mail it to Lindsey Graham. Just send it to his house. So Magnolia is there.
Well, you can go a little cheaper and send him a pin or something.
Yeah. So there's Pops hats, a Watch Your Story stuff, some merch there, and then of course Cooling Justice. I've got the black lettering in. Yeah, I have the white one, so it'll be reversed. It's not as user friendly to set stuff up. It is very time consuming. I probably need to go back to because you can make things cheaper. You just have to lower your margins. And I mean, obviously, I do not need to make money on it. I really could care less about the financial parts as much as I enjoy the humor of it all. So I actually have a couple of more. I mean, obviously, I have tons of these ideas that pop in my head. So it's about just getting them onto the computer. So, all right, my friend.
All right, man.
Have a good one. I'm glad you had a good vacation. It's great to have you back. And we will do it again next week. Take care, my friend.
All right. See you later.